welcome everyone to King's Academy High School. I am Kathy Montgomery and I'm an 8th grade academic counselor here at the King's Academy. And in this video, I am going to walk you through 9th grade course selection. So I will quickly mention that if you missed any of our previous parent and student information sessions, please go back and take a look at those. They are available on the TKA YouTube channel. And there you will find a lot more information on what all 4 years of high school looks like here at King's, as well as some important things to know about graduating high school and being eligible for the University of California and California State University systems. So lots of great information available in those webinars. I want to, again, focus this session on really the nuts and bolts of course scheduling for 9th grade. One slide, however, that I do want to pull out from our previous communications is on what you can keep in mind across all 4 years when you are scheduling or thinking about the classes that you're going to take. And this is really based on King's philosophy that we are really here to support students thrive and not to sink, and not to give into the very common academic or achievement pressure of this area that we live in. That said, we certainly want you to challenge yourself. And so our rule of thumb is to think about your classes where you can get the best grades that you can in the most challenging classes for you. And so this could look very different than the person who sits next to you in science, or even, the friends that you have lunch with. This is going to be very unique and specific to every student. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind. Something else before we dive in that I want you to have handy is access to the King's Academy Course Catalog, because here there's going to be information that you're going to need on meeting prerequisites for courses, as well as course descriptions for what the course is about, maybe some information about how it differs between a regular and honors class, that kind of information. So definitely have that handy. Additionally, what you're going to need handy would be the 4-year course plan. And this, again, is a great tool that you will use for all 4 years of high school to think about what are the courses that you need to take in order to graduate, and the requirements, again, for that UC and CSU eligibility that we want everyone to fulfill. Okay, and lastly, the thing that you're going to need that would be very helpful is this new course schedule worksheet. Okay, and so this will be helpful as we map out the classes and go through all the steps. Okay, so what are those steps? Let me show you. The first step is going to be to take a first pass at courses, including the elective choices. The second step is going to be to check for the academic and extracurricular balance. We want to make sure that students are, again, not overloaded, that they are enjoying high school, taking advantage of the things that we have to offer. And then lastly, we want students to reconsider their course load and just as needed. Okay, so with that said, let me go ahead and pull up the course scheduler. This is just a quick worksheet that we're going to work through, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples of students. Okay, so the first student we're going to hypothetically create is we're just going to walk through their classes. Okay, so semester 1, Bible, or semester 2, it doesn't actually matter where it gets scheduled, but every student in 9th grade will take 1 semester of Bible. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there for semester 1 for now. And 9th grade students all take a full year of PE. Okay. Next, health is a new requirement for the class of 2028, and we strongly recommend that students take it in 9th grade. It's great information that we want students to have. So then we get to English, and there are 2 options. And again, if you went back and you looked at the 4-year course plan, you're going to see, if you can follow along, I'm trying to kind of go right down these rows in order, that the next one we get to is English. And there are 2 options, and that is English 9 and English 9 honors. So this student has met the requirement or the prerequisite for English 9 honors. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Then history is actually optional in 9th grade and 9th grade only. So we're going to just say C electives, and we're going to consider whether we want it to be in our elective choices or not. The next one is math. And so for math, I have another document to share with you that has some pretty much all the math pathways that you can consider. Okay, so this student that we're working with right now is currently in Algebra 1. And so if I find their 8th grade math class, here's Algebra 1, then I can see what the next classes are for them, okay? And I can also see on the sheet, if you wanted to sneak peek at the all 4 years ahead, where the student would potentially end up in terms of taking potential math classes. Again, not to be decided right now, but something that could potentially be helpful if you're thinking about all 4 years. So this student is eligible for geometry. And again, the hypothetical student did not meet the requirements for geometry honors, so they will go into geometry. I will quickly call out that geometry is the one and only math class of any class that King's does allow for you to take over the summer after the completion of Algebra 1 in order to kind of move along to the next course. So some students might elect to take it the summer between 9th and 10th, and then be able to move into algebra in 10th grade. Again, this is not recommended, not encouraged. Really, students who might be more leaning towards a STEM major down the road might really enjoy math. That would be something for them to consider, in which case we have summer school offerings here at King's, as well as through some online partnerships that you can look for in our summer planning information. Okay, that said, we're going to slot in geometry. The next course is science, and again, referring to the 4-year course plan, there are 2 options in 9th grade, and that is biology and biology honors. So this student might qualify for biology honors, but they know that biology is not really a favorite subject, and so they're just going to go for regular biology. And quite honestly, probably a really good decision for the student. Biology honors is definitely one of the honors courses offered in 9th grade that does have a significant amount of more homework. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, next is a world language, and this student hasn't started their language yet, so they are opting to take French 1. And then as you can see, we were planning for 7 class periods. So then we can think about, okay, what elective, either a 1-year or 2-semester electives might the student be interested in? And this student is interested in AP Computer Science Principles. And I will note that they went ahead and submitted their request through the AP course application process on time, and they were approved for the class. They met the prerequisites as well. All right, so before we move on from scheduling our first pass of classes, we want to go ahead and throw in some elective choices, okay? And that first elective choice is going to be the one we just wrote, Computer Science Principles. Now, due to circumstances beyond our control, sometimes the classes that a student wants simply just don't all line up. We don't have enough sections of certain classes. So what we want to do is honor everybody's choices, and so we ask that you put in additional elective choices in the scheduling form. Okay, so this student has gone through and looked at all the different offerings, and they've made the following decisions, right? So after computer science principles, they decided digital design and animation is their next choice. Their third choice is public speaking and debate for a full year. They might want that for a full year. And then they also think they could be interested in Intro to Business, which is a semester course, and Computer Aided Design, which is also the semester course. And those just kind of help you kind of gauge like how many classes, like which classes they would have. Okay, so that is step 1. If I go back here and I look at our second step, the second step is to check for academic and extracurricular balance. Okay, so how we're going to do that is we're going to go down to the section down here, and we're going to fill in what activities the student does on a regular basis, okay, throughout the year. So the first activity they do is club volleyball. And then we're going to put in some information about when they do it. So this is girls volleyball. And so this is December through May, roughly. It's 3 days a week, and it's roughly 6 to 8 hours per week. So this is going to be a good gauge of how much time our student is busy outside of school. They also do TKA, or they plan to do TKA girls volleyball and try out for that team in the fall. So that's the fall. That's going to be August through roughly October. That's going to be 5 days a week for roughly 10 hours each week. Okay. And again, this if a student was doing football, that would go in here. Football is, again, a big time commitment, as well as, any of the sports. You're going to expect to have some amount of practice, as well as game time. And if you have any questions on that, you can certainly look up TKA sports. We have 3 sports seasons in high school. Okay, you can see which seasons are played in which sports are played in which seasons. All right, moving on. This student is also part of their church youth group, and they do that a couple days a week. They're going to do that all year, and roughly 2 days a week, and roughly 4 hours a week. And the last thing they do is they like to crochet. Crocheting has been a hobby that they've had for many years. They don't want to give it up. They just kind of do it off and on, but we want to make sure we make time for that. And maybe 3 hours a week. Okay. All right, so that is step 2, thinking about the different extracurriculars that the student is doing. So the last step we're going to do is now we're going to check for balance. Okay, so we're coming right back. We've kind of made a circle around this spreadsheet. And we're just going to go back through and double check that there is time in the student's schedule for the homework that they think they're going to have, and as well as have time for their extracurriculars. So one thing, in order to do that, let me go ahead and pull up one more document here, which is the estimated homework hours for 9th graders. Okay, so this is taken right out of the course catalog. And you can see for 9th graders, up to 2.5 hours of homework per night, and maybe with honors classes adding a little bit more. And certainly those AP classes as well can add additional time. And then we have some student reported data on homework as well. And so if this is helpful for you when you're weighing through maybe some of the honors or non-honors classes, this might be a good guide for you to look at as well. Okay, so with all of that said, we can come back and we can look at the schedule. And to be honest, this is looking pretty good. This is not feeling, I would say, overwhelmingly busy right now. Some of the things I would question is if the student wanted to do geometry honors and biology honors, I would think that would be too much with their after school activities. So, but right now it's looking pretty good. When we think about just checking for balance, does the student have to take 9 honors? Well, no, but you know what? They meet the prereq, and they they want to challenge themselves. Let's see, and they also, they like history. They like English. Like it's a subject that they don't mind spending some extra time with. Okay. What else? Again, maybe geometry. They, didn't meet the prereqs for, but that's okay. Next year, if they get the grade they need in geometry to be in Algebra 2 honors, if they're interested in moving to honors, they can certainly do that at that point in time. We don't track anybody. So at any given year, you can move up or down between our honors courses, provided you just meet the prerequisites. Biology, they could push themselves. Maybe they met the prereqs here, but you know what? They don't necessarily love biology. So don't love bio. Again, it is a significant amount of homework, additional homework. And so we are just going to agree that we, are not going to push. Aren't going to push for it here. It's probably not worth it for this student. What else? French is an interesting one. Since they're just starting the language, if they wanted to, they could push this out. Could push out another year, but I don't think they need to. I think this would be a good one to go ahead and get started. And then again, we talked about for the AP Computer Science Principles, nothing here on load balance. I think it's reasonable, right? It is an AP class, so keep that in mind. But you know what? They met the prereqs and received approval from AP committee, okay? So they are good to go there. Okay, so that's an example of thinking through what a ninth grade schedule would look like, adding those extra choices, thinking about those extracurriculars, and checking for bounds. All right, I'm going to show you one more example. This is our hypothetical example of student 2. And for this one, I've gone ahead and filled in their first pass courses, okay? As well as the extracurriculars and the other information. So let's just walk through it. So what they're looking for is Bible, everyone gets Bible, PE for the whole year, health as well. They qualified for English 9 honors. They qualified for Algebra 2 honors, Biology honors, Spanish 2 honors, and they're interested in taking Knights Brigade. All right, so again, I've just kind of gone through and chosen some additional electives for them. You can kind of see those here. And again, they actually like history. And so they've put history as a third option in case something else doesn't work out. Now, over here, we're looking at their extracurricular activities, right? And the first one, obviously, is Knights Brigade is not only a class here at King's, it's also an after-school activity. And so it runs August through November, 3 days a week, I believe, for at least 10 hours a week. And I might even be underestimating this. Somebody in KB will definitely know that information. And if you're interested in KB, it does require a audition, and there is an information packet that is chock full of information, so be sure you read that. Okay, this student also takes private tuba lessons. And so they do that all year, just a day a week, but up to about 3 hours, including practice time. This person also enjoys cooking. They cook for their family some days. They just like to get creative in the kitchen. And that's something we want them to be able to keep doing, even in high school. And so again, hypothetically, maybe they're doing that 6 hours a week. And this student is also an avid reader. And again, something that they enjoy doing. And we want to make room in their schedule for that, okay? Roughly maybe 4 hours a week. Just some examples. You know, these could be anything that your student enjoys doing. So when I look at this schedule, I have a very different reaction. This schedule looks incredibly overwhelming to me. And so again, what are the options that we have? All right, the first option we have is to reconsider the honors classes, okay? This feels incredibly heavy. And again, given the extra homework load, given the time commitments outside of classes, my first recommendation would be to something like cut down on the honors, okay? So again, think about who this student is. Think of maybe they're a slightly more math or science based. They don't have to be, but we'll just say hypothetically this person is. So maybe we drop the English 9 honors and, you know, we write over here, don't love English, drop honors, okay? And then again, we think they naturally are more suited maybe for some math and some science, so we're willing to you know, do the extra effort here. But maybe Spanish, you know, is going to be more work than they think it might be. So maybe we just drop honors to leave, to cut down on homework, okay? Okay, so then that's the first thing we can do is reconsider the honors level. So already we're starting to give ourselves some breathing room here. The second thing we can do is look for how we can build some breaks into this schedule, okay? So the easiest one to do would be to think about this PE class and to there's an option to take PE over the summer. So let's explore that. PE over the summer would be a 3-week class that gets you a full semester of credit, okay? So now we only have, let's see if I can do this, PE, and let's go ahead and put it in the second semester because we really want to bake a study hall into this, okay? I'm just going to put it in parentheses here. But what we're going to do is go down here and we are going to say, you know what? We can move these down, and we really want a study hall for a semester. Because that way, building in that study hall is going to give that student some time to get their homework done, and it's not going to be harmful for their transcript or their GPA. So the one easy option, provided you're available over the summer for 3 weeks, is to be able to do that PE over the summer. There are a couple other options I will tell you about. Let me walk you through them. The next one would be to consider moving a language, but this student's already in the middle of Spanish, like learning Spanish, so we wouldn't recommend that for the student. But if you are just starting a language like the previous student was, or if you're testing into maybe Chinese 3 or 4 AP, it's really okay to hold off on that and start those another year in high school. The other option would be to break up the elective into 2 semesters. So again, taking a study hall there, along with maybe an intro to law for this particular student. Again, this one really wants to do Knights Brigade. And so we love students who participate in our visual and performing arts courses. We love to give them an option to do that all 4 years that they're here at King's. And so maybe not the best option for this student. But for another student who's feeling really heavy with honors courses and after school activities, you could look at whatever that elective is, thinking about taking 2 semester electives, again, maybe building in a study hall for that. The last option I will tell you, again, is not recommended, and that would be to move the health course to another year. So you could defer it. Again, it's going to be a majority of 9th graders taking this course, so keep that in mind, but it's definitely an option if you've run out of other options. Okay, so you can let me know if that's something you're interested, or I think there is the availability in the course selection sheet to not choose health. Again, strongly recommend for all of our 9th graders, but just wanted to make sure that you were aware of the last option there. Okay, and if you missed any of these, you can certainly go back and watch this video again and see if it all makes sense for you. I will just finish with my contact information. So if there's anything in this video that was confusing or you'd like some more clarity on, by all means, you can email me at my email address there, or contact me and set up time. So you can reach me at my Calendly link as well, and we can sit down and talk with parents and with students. I love to have those conversations and help you start to think about how to be successful all 4 years at King's. So with that, I will say good luck on your high school course selection.